Pickle, let's go to the hotline. Hotline's getting a workout today.
It is. My phone worked this
San
time.
Antonio to Austin. Let's talk with the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. It is our friend Craig Way. Craig, first and foremost, I have to pass along a message I promised from Trinity Tigers head coach Jeremy Urban, who's got ranked 6th in Division III right now, looking really good. But he said that he wants to say hi because he is a big fan.
Well, I appreciate that. He's got them rolling. They have not escaped my notice. They really got my attention early on when they beat Mary Hardin Baylor, and I thought, okay, these guys are for real, and they are. So extended return greetings, certainly, to Coach.
Fantastic. Okay, you had your Texas had their open date, which means you had your open date. I want to know what Craig Way does with his open date.
Well, every weekend starts off by sitting, 8 inches from you on Friday night.
I'm sorry about
there
that, Craig.
at the desk there, the two of us and Aaron Hardigan with High School Scoreboard Live, and that's always fun. We did that. I was just talking with Pickle about this on the drive up. The original plan was Linda was going to come up with me, and we were going to go to see the alma mater play on Saturday. We were going to go to the North Texas game, but we had dog sitter issues. So we said, maybe this isn't the best weekend for it. So she stayed back with the dog, and I was driving up, and it was just going to be an up and back thing. And I happened to call my former teacher and broadcast mentor to many, the immortal, the one and only Bill Mercer, who, of course, was the voice of the Mean Green for 35 years, voice of the Dallas Cowboys in the 60s, including the Ice Bowl, first play-by-play voice of the Texas Rangers, also did the play-by-play, worked with Harry Carey on the White Sox, but his most important duty, he always said, was as a teacher. He also was one of the ground reporters covering the Kennedy assassination. Well, Bill is 97 years young. And I called him on the way up just to chat, and we talked periodically. And I said, by the way, he's in an assisted living facility now. I said, you ever get visitors? He goes, when they come, you want to come? And I said, how about tomorrow? So I went over and spent about 3 hours with him, reminiscing, laughing, joking, talking. The man is sharp as a razor at age 97. So that's how I spent my open date bye-week Saturday, and I felt really good about it, and we had a great visit. And then I came home Saturday night and chilled on Sunday and, kept an eye on your beloved Texas Rangers, who are 2 wins away from the World Series. Is your PTSD easing up a little bit about the Rangers?
No. Let me answer that for him. No, he is stressed.
It's still stomach ache city. I hate this. First of all, I should say, I'm not a North Texas guy, as you guys know, but you spent enough time around here and enough time around the media,
the Mercer
especially
Mafia.
in Texas. You guys are everywhere. Bill Mercer's acolytes are just running around roughshod. They run this state in a lot of ways. So that is a name that resonates even with me.
Yeah, great man. As Pickle says, we're all members of the Mercer Mafia, Mercerites, and he's something else. And he said when I left, he said people ask him from time to time, what accomplishment are you most proud of? Was it being there covering the whole Kennedy assassination? Bill Mercer was the one who informed Lee Harvey Oswald that he was being charged with murdering the president, when there was this kind of weird news conference thing in between the assassination day on Friday and when Jack Ruby shot Oswald on Sunday. On Saturday, when they brought him through, and it was this press gathering, and that's where you hear Oswald say things like, I'm a patsy, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I haven't even been charged with anything. And they happened to be standing right nearby, and Bill looked at him and said, yes, you have. And he looked at Bill and he said, you've been charged with murdering the president. And he said, he just stared at him blankly, and then the police whisked him off. So I asked Bill, I said, he said that people ask him from time to time, what achievement, what accomplishment are you most proud of? And he said that I taught that class for 50 years. Mm-hmm. That's what it was, that he taught that class for 50 years. And it's a lesson all of us can learn, even as we continue to climb our own personal ladders and achieve and accomplish our own personal things, that giving back, and that's what he has done for these many years. Giving back is the biggest gift that we can give.
Most certainly. Absolutely. Well said. On to less important things, like Texas high school football, though it certainly rings pretty important around here. We're now into week 9 of the Texas high school football season, and Step and I were kind of looking over the slate of games here in week 9 of the season, and obviously there are these. We now fall into this kind of odd in-between where you've got the games that are the real headliners, right? The games between two powers, maybe state-ranked teams. There's a handful of matchups of unbeatens. But then you also end up finding all these games that really matter, that you're starting to get into essentially de facto playoff games. Winners probably in, losers probably out. At this point in the season, which interests you more? Do you find yourself more drawn towards the headline matchups, the ones that we look at for most of the season, or do you find yourself drawn to the real nitty-gritty, the ones that are going to determine who gets that final playoff spot?
For me, it's always going to be the games that get you into the playoffs. But how many times have we've heard the story in so many different sports, just get into the tournament, get into the playoffs. And we've seen it. We've seen where teams can get on a big run. Harmony last year, getting in and making a big run into the semifinals. I mean, it's not often a team finishes with an 8-6 record, I guess it was, or something like that. Getting into the tournament. So yes, I am keeping a close watch on that. Some of the games may have less impact, but are still headliner games that have some sort of implication. I'll give you an example. There's one down here this week. You got Lake Travis and Dripping Springs. Now, in the grand scheme, it won't matter in terms of, what happens with each of those two teams' individual playoff routes. Reason being is they're going to go in different divisions. Drip, obviously, in D2. Lake Travis certainly seems to be ticketed to be the D1 representative as the runner-up to Westlake. But it's a big game, and it's still an opportunity for Dripping Springs, who gave Westlake a tussle for about 3 quarters last week, to continue to make a statement forward about that program. Their only loss has been to Vandergrift. Obviously, no disgrace there. So that's why it's a real interesting matchup. Hank Carter, the head coach of Lake Travis, and Galen Zimmerman at Dripping Springs. That's a headline matchup, even if it doesn't come down to deciding a playoff spot or who goes what direction or whatever in the postseason, as is the case with many other districts, as we know, across the state.
All right, I want to go back to Week 8, and I want to give you 3 results from Week 8. And I would like to know, because I think we had our fair number of kind of stunners or ones that certainly made us cock our eyebrow whenever they came across our screen. I'll give you 3, and you tell me which one shocked you the most. Would it be Odessa Permian 32, Midland Legacy 31? Would it be... Let me find the score. Lindale 35, Chapel Hill 23, or a new challenger approaches. Would it be Round Rock Stony Point 7, Cedar Park Vista Ridge 0? Which of those shocked you the most on a Friday night?
Probably the Lindale over Chapel Hill. Anytime a number 1 team goes down, they go down, and all of a sudden, especially if it's an unranked team, it would surprise folks. Now, we know that sometimes they've had an issue or two with their defense or whatever. But it would probably be the eyebrow raiser. In the case of Permian and Legacy, hey, that's throw that record book out the window thing. So it's a big rivalry deal, just as it was the week before with Odessa High pulling the upset over Permian. So those things happen. And then the deal with Stony and Vista, this is that crazy mixed up world of 25-6A. Think about this for a second, Teb. Here's Vista Ridge with losses to McNeil and to Stony. In both cases, they allowed only 7 points and lost the game. They lost 7-6. They lost 7-0. You pretty much have an elimination game on your hands this week with Vista and Manor. So that's a critical game. And then there'll be another important game next week, depending on what happens with Manor this week. The Manor-Westwood game could have impact because it could also impact Vandergrift's status of Division I, Division II, which we talked about earlier. But I would say of those 3, probably the Lindale eyebrow raiser was the one that got me.
Finally, Craig, it's the meanest thing we do to each other each week, and that is I'm going to give you 3 games, and you can only pick one to teleport to, even though I do think that there are some Thursday and Friday games in this one, so you could do 2, but that's not the rules of this game that I made up. The 3 games, you can only teleport to 1. Are you going to Silsbee for Hampshire Finette and Silsbee, a matchup of unbeaten state ranked? Are you going to Corpus Christi for Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial and Corpus Christi Miller? Or are you going to Fannin County to watch Cooper and Honeygrove in a game that I know we all saw coming in the preseason?
I love all three of those. Naturally, this is a classic example, the meanest thing you do each week. The Hampshire Finette Silsbee thing is really attractive, as well as that battle on the Bay. But I'm probably going to go with Cooper and Honeygrove, because we find out how for real Honeygrove really is. I mean, they gave up their first points of the season last week. That one field goal, they still have yet to punt. And then Cooper, we've known to be really, really good. And you and your minions, your acolytes, have yet to put Honeygrove into the top 10 rankings. But if Honeygrove gets the win, we're going to all channel our inner Reagan and Gorbachev thing, and this invisible wall that you've put up around Honeygrove. We're going to say, Mr. Tepper, tear down this wall. So that's what's going to happen if Honeygrove gets the win. It'll be a good ball game, I think.
I will say this, as somebody who does have a hand in the rankings. If Honeygrove beats Cooper, it's going to be real hard to keep him out of the rankings. They'll tell you right now, internally, they're about 12th, like 13th or 12th. This would certainly vault them into the rankings. And then we can have a party in the sweetest town in Texas. He's Craig Way. He's a Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. You can listen to him on the Craig Way Show, the eponymous show down there on AM 1300 The Zone, 2 to 4 p.m. today and every weekday down there in Austin. And then see him on High School Scoreboard Live Friday nights on Bally Sports Southwest alongside Aaron Hardigan and myself. Craig, appreciate your time, my friend, and I will talk to you a little bit later this afternoon.
You bet. We get to throw it right back in your face this afternoon on my show.
So excited. Thanks, man.
All right.
There he goes, Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer, proud member of the Mercer Mafia.
Correct.
Join us here on Texas Football Today. Our boss stopped at the outside. Do you ever notice that when somebody stops outside the glass? We have glass right here. I think we've shown people the thing, but there's glass right here. When there's people, somebody stops. I always think no, we're doing a show. Please don't come in here.
The other day, one of our sales guys was trying to talk to Mallory and I through the glass, asking if he could come in right in the middle of WTF. I was like, we do this every week. Same time. Literally every single week.
Same time every Thursday. That's fine. Anyway, we appreciate Craig White, the Texas Football Hall of Famer, joining us every Tuesday here on Texas Football Today.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.